Hello and welcome to a little journey through the world of supply chains. Supply chains bring everything to you and defeat the economy. But now, in times of COVID-19, we are facing some challenges. I would like to talk about the food supply chain, the agriculture supply chain, to show how the coronavirus outbreak impacts the world of the flow of goods, what we can do in the short term, what might happen in the midterm, and what we should maybe consider for the future. The food supply chain ends in the supermarket. And there we expect that the food is there, the quantity we need, the quality we want, every day, all the time. In times of COVID-19, we have some surprises. We arrive in the afternoon and empty shelves. But luckily, in the morning, they are refilled. And this is not a supply chain failure. This is the result of constant panic buying. Where does the food come from? There are mainly two sources. Either it is produced locally, then we have a short supply chain, or it is coming from abroad. And it's coming from abroad because many nations don't have the climate, the land, the yields to feed their proper populations. And then we are dependent on the fluidity of the system at the border. And if, due to COVID-19, governments put restrictions, then ships cannot come into the harbor and trucks can cross the border. And if airlines cancel most of the flights, we are also lacking capacity because a lot of cargo moves below the passenger deck alongside with our luggage. When the food comes from local production, we also might have some challenges. Farmers do have agricultural machinery. The equipment sometimes breaks down. Then we need services personnel or we need spare parts. And hence the government need to think along the entire supply chain and leave the services companies open, ensure that manufacturers at least keep the production at a level to serve the critical areas. We need to keep the logistics going, the gas stations open, etc., etc. And when we talk about manufacturing, then we are facing similar challenges as we see with the imports of food, because many manufacturing supply chains depend on cross-border supply. And this not because we can't do it in every place. It's just not economical. It costs enormous amounts of money to have a very decentralized production network, at least with traditional manufacturing methodologies. What can we do? I think on the factory level, we have to implement processes that protect the workers so that workers can come to work with comfort. At the farmer level, we need to make sure that the farmer is not there when the service personnel arrives or the spare parts. This ensures the safety of the farmer. And the supermarkets, the retail stores, from my perspective, are working. We have the procedures in place. From a company point of view, and particularly for companies that operate in several countries. It would, of course, be ideal if all those measures and respective policies were largely aligned. What do I see in the midterm? In the factories, I see much more robotics, automation, to ensure that we can, without any difficulty, operate in times of pandemics. And it's the trend anyway. On the farmer level, we are highly automated, and I see more digitization. I see more integration upwards and downwards the supply chain. Farmers will be better integrated with their services suppliers, with their manufacturers of machinery parts and machineries, and with their customers. On the retail level, I see cashierless supermarkets and also much more integration with the customers. But there is another sector which enjoys enormous tailwind today, and that is e-commerce. And e-commerce has been a challenge for the retail sector and will now be even more threatening than before. What will the governments do? I think they will not change course. Those that believed that borders should have controls or be closed will use the pandemic as an argument that confirms exactly that belief. Hence, as we were in a phase of protectionism, I see that continuing. And I think it's wrong for the reasons I have explained. And the science community shows us that collaborating in times of crisis is the only way to come to fast solutions. What is my vision for the future? The lockdown has brought back to me a lot of memories. Memories about blue sky, clean water, clean air, less noise, less pollution. And this in times where we still keep 50 to 60, 70%, it depends on the economy, going. That raises hope for me that we can live without all the rush, without the traffic jams, without the pollution emissions, etc. And the way towards this future is the circular economy. And the circular economy needs some support. And COVID-19 has shown that governments can take radical decisions and that citizens are ready to change their behavior. What we need on top of it is the will and the talent. Because it is a different way of thinking, of operating. It requires a different skill set. It requires skills and knowledge in the area of material science, of design, advanced manufacturing, and logistics. Because it all starts with the design and with the materials chosen, with the way how we stick them together, because that determines whether we can reuse a product or not, either in its entirety or in its parts. But I see now this vision could become reality. Many people might think like me and ponder about whether we really should start the economy where we left it.